Hello, this is Gary Tilkin, and I'm coming to you from the deck of Explora II on our 8-day journey with my son that started on the 18th of March and goes through the 26th of March, which, by the way, we only have 2 more days left, so we're having a fabulous time. As you can see, I'm on deck 5 and I'm overlooking the main lobby. I've never done this before actually on the ship, but I wanted to do it this time because I wanted to approach this onboard video in such a way so that you understood the differences between my experience on Explora I 1 year ago and Explora II this time, because I thought you'd get so much more out of that. Now, first, spoiler alert, fabulous cruise on a fabulous cruise line. And for all of those people that are online that are saying things like, this isn't really an ultra luxury cruise, let me explain to you, it truly is. But part of that is Explora Journeys' unique style and unique take on improvement. Now, in my personal career, I worked with some of the best, most iconic companies. And these companies understood that if you listen to what your guests say, and then you take action on what your guests say, those guests will recognize that and share it, because word of mouth is more important than anything else. As much as cruise companies or brands marketing is, people that go on these kinds of events, these kinds of cruises, don't necessarily believe what they hear in marketing. They believe what they hear from people like me and like you. So that's the way I'm going to approach this video. And I want to start this way. The very first cruise I was in one of the top suites. It was called a Retreat Ocean Residence. I highly recommend it. It was great. I will be in an ocean residence again in my next cruise next year, but this time I took my son, and we are in the entry-level suite. And I am here to tell you, first and foremost, that anyone that wants to choose an entry-level suite on an Explora Journeys ship is making a very wise decision. It is lovely. It's probably the best entry-level suite that I've ever been in on any cruise line. But I digress. I'm going to start from the beginning, and I'm going to start explaining to you some of the differences. First and foremost, the last time when we went out of Miami, we didn't go out of the MSC terminal because the MSC terminal had to have something added to it because the Explora Journeys ships are smaller than MSC ships. Well, they did that. So this time, we went out of the MSC terminal, and that was pretty interesting. It's a beautiful terminal. It's huge. Now, I was expecting, because the actual boarding time was 1 o'clock, and I got there at about 11:15. I was expecting to wait an hour, because that's what happens on some cruise brands. When they say 1 o'clock, they mean 1 o'clock. But that was not the case. 1, absolutely no crowds. 2, they brought you in, going through security was easy, and when we sat down, they set us in a bench, and they took us on board a small group at a time. So when I got there at 11:15. When I actually checked in, it was probably 11:20. When they picked us up and took us on board, it was probably 11:30. Now, at no point in time did I feel rushed, did I feel cramped. And I remember the first time people had to wait, it wasn't quite that smooth. Now, I didn't have to wait the first time because I was in an ocean residence. They took us right in. But the people who were in penthouses or in ocean terraces, they had to wait, and some people had a problem with that. That is not the case now that they're in the MSC terminal. The second thing I want to share with you is, don't think when you go on Explora Journey that you're on an MSC ship. You're not. MSC paid for this. The real story behind this is the owner of MSC wanted to have a passion project to create a cruise line that was something that she would like to go on. Not a huge ship, not a small ship, but a true yacht experience that she would feel was worthy of her attention. So she created Explora Journey. And as she created it, she was involved with all aspects of it. As a matter of fact, before any ship goes out, she goes through the ship and she writes notes and tells people the things that she wants to change or improve. So whenever you're seeing things and so, well, that looks well coordinated, that's because she has a hands-on approach. The other part of this is that it's an island unto itself as a company. So the things that they do on their own, and they don't necessarily have to be on the same page as MSC. Now, MSC is a nice cruise line, but it's not an ultra luxury cruise line, even when you go into the yacht club. This is an ultra luxury cruise line. Now, I want to use that term. Remember I said I was going to tell you some of the improvements? Well, here's one of them. When I first went on, it was a relatively young company. It was February of 2025. And the service was excellent. I thought it was excellent, but some people commented it wasn't ultra luxury because people didn't know your name. Now I come on this time, a year later. All of a sudden, no matter who you are, people come up to you and they ask you your name. And it was, from day one, it was obvious. They were asking my name to remember my name. By day 2 or 3, anywhere I went, they said, "Hi, Gary," and my son's name is Alex. "Hi, Alex." And there was what most people thought wasn't ultra luxury, but it is now. I'm going to give you another improvement. One of the things people said a year ago was that it wasn't enough shaded areas by the pools. Well, they listened, and very quickly, they hired a company to come in and put shaded areas on all the water features. So now when you go out there, the first thing I saw was all of the shaded areas. And I thought that was absolutely marvelous. And it was a true improvement over what it was before. Now it's not hard to find a shaded area. Number 3, people said that the beef that were in the restaurants was tough. Well, that's because the original beef vendor that they had came from Europe. And it was not grain-fed beef. It was grass-fed beef. And that beef tastes great, but it's a little chewy. Now when you go in the restaurants, you'll notice it says US Prime, but also if it's grass-fed, it will let you know that. And you can ask your server, which is more flavorful, how does that taste? So again, they heard and they fixed it. The third issue that I thought was a problem then, not really a problem so much as an issue, was I wasn't really thrilled with the entertainment. And I'm going to tell you, I love entertainment. I grew up in New York. We used to go to Broadway shows all the time. I used to love going on NCL because they had those great Broadway shows. They don't have them anymore, but they had them then. So entertainment's very important to me. So when the entertainment wasn't that great, I said, they could really improve that. Well, they did 2 things. One is, although they never really hired someone who had experience in cruising, they realized that in their entertainment director, they needed to have somebody that had experience. So they did. And the entertainment director, which by the way is the same entertainment director we had the last time, has done an absolutely marvelous job. Now I'm going to specifically talk to you about the entertainment at night. Every one of the shows that I've gone to have been top-notch, top drawer, just like it used to be in Vegas in the lounge, not the big showroom, the lounge. It's been fabulous. The entertainers that they bring on board are really some of the best I've seen in a very long time, and they should be very proud of that. So what's the real lesson that I'm trying to share with you? They found issues that clients told them wasn't necessarily to their liking. They listened, and they corrected it in less than a year. Now you tell me, what cruise company has ever done that? What company has ever done that? Who really listens to us and then takes action? So now some of the criticisms aren't there anymore. Now how do I know that it's working? Well, kind of simple. In my last cruise in February of 2025, the ship only had 60% occupancy. This ship is sold out. The ships in the future are selling out. Now how do I know that the people who are looking at the different levels, and the levels are Ocean Terrace, Penthouse, and Ocean Residences? Well, the Ocean Residences, which were wide open a year ago, now are some of the ones that get sold the first. They're listening. They heard what people wanted. They're making you feel special. Now, the one thing that I think is the most important thing that I can share with you is when you leave your suite, no matter if you're in the nicest suite, the owner suite, or you're in an entry-level suite, when you leave your suite, everyone is treated the same. There are no classes. And that's really important. Now, with doing things like this in Cruise Critic and Facebook, I'm very well known because I wrote the viral topic on the NCL Haven. It was called The Secrets of the NCL Haven Luxury Experience. And it got over 1.5 million views. Well, I stopped using the Haven not because I didn't think it was bad. It wasn't bad, it was great. But it's for that kind of cruising, when you want to have the big ship experience, but also have a place to go to that you can chill out and have better service. But I also didn't like when you left the Haven, you were treated differently. I wanted everybody to be treated the same when they left their suite. And that's exactly the experience that you get here. Now I'm going to bring one more thing up to people because I read all the posts online. I know what people are saying that they like and they don't like. There is no main dining room here. There are 4 main restaurants and something called the Emporium Marketplace, which is their take on a buffet. It's not a buffet because you don't touch the food. They always plate you the food, or they bring you the food after it's cooked, or they give you a little device that buzzes when your food's ready. It's really lovely, and the quality is chef's kiss. It's great. But the 4 main restaurants, all of which are part of your fare, there used to be an issue with considering that there was no main dining room. So there's no place that you can just drop in, dress the way you want. It just wasn't like that. It wasn't a main dining room like we all know main dining rooms to be. And initially, you would go there and sometimes you got turned down because they didn't have space at the time. They've done a much better job. But I'm going to make a recommendation to you. The 2 dining rooms that you can't make a reservation on pre-cruise, it's called the Med Yacht Club and Rouge. On those, the moment you get on the ship, either go to your phone app or go to deck 5. And when you're on deck 5, go over to where there's a person for dining and get them to make your reservation. So think through. If you have 2 reservations for Marvel & Company, which is one of the specialty restaurants, and for Cigar, which is the other one, then spread out your other reservations with the other, so that you already have a booking at the time that you want and the day that you want. Now that brings me to my next point. Try to book your reservations for Marble and for Cigar early in the week. Now here's the reason why. When you book it early in the week, for example, and you go in and they get your cabin number and they sit you, the moment that they sit you is when your reservation opens up and you can get a second reservation at that particular restaurant. So you must eat there first, not for the Med Yacht Club and not for Rouge, for Cigar and for Marble & Company. So the moment you sit down, go to your phone, make another reservation. So that way you can have more than a couple. For example, this week, we not only are going to Cigar twice, I do love that kind of food. We also went there for lunch, which was quite the treat, I might say. So there are some hints to make your journey just a little bit better. So there in a nutshell is the differences that I've found between my first cruise here and my second cruise. Now, I don't know how to share this with you, but it's so important for me to be able to have access to all the aspects of the ship. And one of the best aspects for me is the spa. Now, I will tell you that I love massages on cruise ships, but they're very expensive. So if it's going to be a massage, I want it to be a really good one. I highly recommend the spa on these ships. The masseuses are great. I don't know what company they use. It's always a third-party company. They're great, but the facility is great. So on all days, since everyone's treated the same, you can use the spa facilities, the salt room, the sauna, the steam room. You can use thermal spa. You can use the entire area because that's what comes with your cruise fare. Now, the only time it's restricted, and it's only restricted during the middle part of the day, is during sea days, because on sea days, that's when the spa is really crowded, and they want to make sure that people that actually have treatments can actually have access to those other aspects of it. but it's still available. It's just available in the morning and it's available in the evening. And I will say it's a small area, but it's never been crowded, and I've gone every single day. So there is the beginning of this video on my experience. Now I'm going to break it down some more. I'm going to do it from my home, but I thought it was appropriate to be able to do it on board with the backdrop of this beautiful main level bar. I hope you've enjoyed it. I know I have, and my son has been absolutely thrilled. He couldn't have been happier. And the best part of my life is next year in May, I'll be able to take my wife in an ocean residence, and we'll be going on Explora III. So that's the first part of my video. I hope you enjoyed it. And don't ever think again that the entry level on Explora is anything less than absolutely beautiful. This is Gary Tilkin. I'll be talking to you real soon. Thanks for your time. Boy, I know that song. Here I come.
Yeah.
Monte Cristos, huh? Very nice. What a nice selection you have here. Only on Explora Journeys. Say hey.
Hi.
One more time.
Hi.
Welcome to Explora Journey 2, suite number 119 on the 10th deck. As we go in, you'll see the walk-in closet. You can see your stuff right here, lots of storage, lots of hanging spots, 2 robes, slippers, and in the drawer, you'll see a Dyson hairdryer, which my wife will absolutely love. The bathroom's a little bit small, but absolutely perfect, with a huge walk-in shower that includes a rainfall head. Everything you'd ever need. As we walk out, I have a room with 2 double beds, which is awfully nice. Each bedside table has a cell phone charger that's built in. You have USB, USB-C, American and European plugs. You have Steiner binoculars. The room comes with wine and your favorite spirit. Sparkling and still water, a bottle of lovely champagne, hors d'oeuvres, a library, my son Alex, and outside you have a daybed, a table with 2 chairs, and this, believe it or not, is the entry level for Explora Journey. Magnificent. Hello, I'm back in Birmingham, Alabama at home. It's been a week or so after my cruise and I've had time to think about it. And I wanted to come back to you and share with you some of my initial thoughts post-cruise. First, I shared with you right above where the main lobby was, I shared with you some thoughts while I was on the cruise, the differences between my Explora I and my Explora II journey. Then I showed you a little bit about the Ocean Terrace suite. I was in an Ocean Terrace 4. As a matter of fact, I was also in a penthouse. Somebody had to leave the ship and they reached out to me and said, would you like to go in and spend the last 2 days in a penthouse? And I said, sure. I thought that was awfully nice of them. I was on an upgrade list, and so the ship was sold out, so I got 2 days of a little bit more luxury in a penthouse. Then I showed you the cigar bar and the humidor for the cigar bar, and the reason why I did that is, one, I like cigars, and two, somebody on Cruise Critic asked me, please give us a tour and show us some of the cigars in the humidor. So I wanted to do that because I wanted to follow up with all the kind people that sent me requests to learn and know things. Now, I want to end this video with kind of a thought pattern here. You know what I've covered up to this point. I probably will be a little bit redundant, but on areas that need to have redundancy. I want to tell you how Explora Journey brought me back to cruising. First, I want to tell you why I left cruising. I was doing a lot of cruising, and I really enjoyed it because I liked the entire aspect of it. You can go someplace and have your hotel right there. You don't have to unpack and repack. There's lots of reasons why I like cruising, but there were also lots of reasons why I was getting sour on it. And I'm not the only one. So I needed to find something that would be, I don't know, take the place of cruising. So I tried all-inclusive resorts, didn't really strike me. I went to nice hotels, didn't really strike me. I went back to cruising, but first thing I had to find out was, how can I get rid of some things that were really bothering me? And I'm going to tell you what those things are, and then I'm going to tell you how Explora Journey fixed them. Now, some of the fixes didn't happen in my first cruise, but they sure were fixed on my second cruise. I've already discussed that. Now, I'm going to go into specific topics and say, here's why Explora Journey pulled me back. And remember, I rate all cruises based on the experiences I've had before, whether on that line or not on that line. When somebody says ultra luxury to me, an ultra luxury cruise doesn't have to necessarily be known universally as an ultra luxury cruise. It just has to be better substantially than previous experiences. In this case, I do consider Explora Journey to be an ultra luxury cruise. So let me start with my topics. I hope you'll like this, and I hope this will put kind of a ribbon around what I learned, how I learned, and how it can help you in your next journey, especially if you choose Explora Journeys. Now, my first topic is, there was no nickel and diming. God, I hate nickel and diming. And I want to explain to you why this is so important to me. I would go into great lengths. I would do super due diligence to make whatever cruise I was on to be all-inclusive, so there wouldn't be any nickel and diming. And this is on cruise lines that are not all-inclusive. So you really had to think it through. It was not the easiest thing I ever did the first couple of times, and I kind of got used to it. But it was just a lot of work. I hate nickel and diming. I would much rather be charged more up front so I don't have to worry about it than being nickeled and dimed throughout. Now I'll give you some examples. When I went into the spa on any other cruise, they really put the hard sell on me to do other things or improve my whatever the process I was going to get, like a massage, go from an hour to an hour and a half, or the product. None of that happened. None of that happened. Then I would go into a specialty restaurant, and Explora Journeys has 2 specialty restaurants, but all 4 to me are specialty restaurants because of the quality. I go into a specialty restaurant and there would be an item and there would be extra for that item, not on Explora Journeys. You see, so nobody was trying to sell me jewelry, all that stuff that used to make me crazy were gone. And I really like that, and I want to continue that kind of an experience in the future. I also learned that all those extra things that you had to pay for, whether, it doesn't make a difference what it was, whether it was an upgrade to a drink package or certain aspects of your excursions, those were not needed. Now, you did have to pay for excursions on Explora Journey, there's no question about that. But you didn't have to pay for transportation to get to the main town. You see, when you pay a little more, you get more. So now when I used to compare, here's what I did before, and here's what I did with Explora Journeys, and here's not only the fare, but all the extra stuff that I had to pay for, those fares came awfully close, and that surprised me, and it should surprise you. So do your due diligence. So for me, it was a great benefit not to be nickeled and dimed. Now, I already referred to this before, but I'm going to do it again. And I told you I'm going to be redundant. There were no crowds. The ship was completely filled. No crowds. I came in early to get on board and to check in. I was on board from the time I dropped off my luggage to being on board in 15 minutes. Now, remember, I'm in an entry-level suite, and I was in 15 minutes. It was very well done, very well orchestrated, and I think it had a lot to do with the MSC terminal, the new terminal, and them getting it retrofitted for Explora Journeys. Now, during the week, whether it was in the Emporium marketplace, or in the restaurants, or in the shows, I didn't feel crowded at all. I will say this, the shows were very popular. So the earlier show, you had to get there maybe 5 minutes early to get a seat, or it was going to be standing room only, but the later show was wide open. And I tell you that so that you can plan it that way. So when you make your reservations for dinner, you can make it that way. But I loved that there was no crowds. A full ship and no crowds. Who would have thunk it? Now again, I warned you I'm going to be redundant, but on things that are really important to me. When I felt what I'm about to share with you with Explora Journeys, it was one of the most important aspects of cruising on them. There were no classes. Now what I mean by that is, when you went on the Haven, or you went in the retreat for celebrity, or you went into the MSC Yacht Club, you were in a small little VIP area and it was lovely. All the things you would expect to be there. Yet when you left the area, you didn't get treated the same. So therefore, those in the area, they were in a higher class than those outside the areas. I really didn't like that, and I really didn't like some of the comments I heard from other passengers about that. Other passengers could not understand why this section of the ship was just for us. The fact that we paid 3 times as much to get in there didn't make a difference. Now, I didn't agree with them because I paid the extra to be in there, but I understood it. And I wanted to eliminate that in my next journeys. Well, Explora Journey did it. Here's the routine. In your actual suite, you might be in an ocean terrace, a penthouse, or if you're lucky enough and have the budget, an ocean residences. In the suite, there might be some amenities, niceties that you don't get in other suites. But when you open that door and you leave, when you leave that suite, everybody's treated the same. It doesn't make a difference where you are, everybody's treated the same. And I love that. So, if you can't afford to be in an ocean residence, it's okay. It's just a bigger room with a few niceties. I promise you, the room I was in Ocean Terrace was the nicest entry-level suite I've been in any cruise line. So, I loved that there were no classes. Now, a little bit about the Emporium Marketplace and dining in general. I love the Emporium Marketplace. And let me tell you what I didn't like in other cruise lines. They had buffets, and when you went through the buffet, you picked up the little devices to put the food on your plate, and sometimes people would touch the food and not take them. Sometimes people would make a mess and not clean it. And it just, I didn't like it. I didn't like that whole thing. And when I went on Explora Journeys, both Explora I and Explora II, the people behind the counters, the crew, they plated your food. You never had to touch your food. It was plated and it was handed over to you. If you got something that was made to order, and there were lots of things that were made to order. Hamburgers were made to order. They had a steak sandwich that was made to order. They also had lobster tails that were made to order and shrimps that were made to order. When you ordered them, they'd give you a little buzzer. And when the buzzer went off, either you or a server would go and get it. Now, on Explora I, it's one of the things that were better, I used to have to go and get it. Nobody ever offered. On Explora II, every time the buzzer went off, there was somebody close and they said, "That's okay, Gary, I'll go get your food for you." Now that's an improvement, again, a credit to Explora Journeys. But this isn't really a buffet. It's much, much, much more like, the best way to put it, a European food court. And I think that if you go into it with an open mind, you'll change your mind on buffets forever on cruise lines. Ready for a controversial topic? Here it comes. I'm just the messenger telling you what would happen, my actual experiences. The children on board, and there were some, I don't know how many, maybe 20, 30, who knows, I don't know how many. It was over spring break, you can imagine, there were going to be kids on board. Every single one of them was well-mannered. Not once were they loud or did they splash in the pool. Not once were 20 of them in the hot tub so you couldn't go in. Not once was there a distraction in a restaurant. Not once. The parents and the kids were together. They enjoyed their vacation on Explora Journeys together. And in some cases, the children were better mannered than some of the actual guests on board. So if you're worried that Explora Journey is really advertising to have multi-generational cruising, I've been on 2 now, and not once did I have an issue with children. The reality is, on previous cruises, I have. And when it's happened, it really wasn't the kids. Yeah, the kids were acting bad. It was that the parents thought that the crew needed to be their 24-hour babysitter, even when they were in some place like the Haven Pool. And so the other guests had a hard time enjoying it because of the loudness and the splashing and everything else that goes on. Not on an Explora Journey. So if you have that as a concern, I understand and I respect that. But I did not have that experience on 2 cruises so far. Now, if my past topic was controversial, let's go to another one. Why not, right? Let's talk reality. Remember, these are the things that needed to improve for me because I was getting a little bit sour on cruising. Lounge chairs by the pools, especially lounge chairs by the pools in the shade. Yes, there are chair hogs on Explora Journeys. Yes, there were chair hogs on Crystal Cruises. Yes, there were chair hogs on Region 7 Seas. I don't care what you go on, there's going to be entitled guests who come out first thing in the morning and do those little clips and put a towel in a book, and you don't see them all day long. Yes, it happened, but not much. The hardest day to get a chair by the conservatory pool, which is their big pool, the hardest time to do it was on a sea day. I knew that. So knowing that, and knowing that it might be difficult to get a chair, especially in the shade, there are several other pools you can go to. You don't have to go to the conservatory pool, and they're all heated, and they all have the same great chairs. So please understand, you have options here, but you're not going to stop that from happening. I wasn't going to take everything off of somebody's chair just out of spite. I just went and found another chair, and it was never a problem, even on sea days. Now, when it was a port day, it was wide open, absolutely wide open. So please understand, some of those issues that I had before, they were still issues. The difference was, this time I had options because there was more than one pool. Now, logically, most cruise lines have one, maybe two pools. But when you have as many pools and hot tubs that are all heated with Explora Journeys, you always have options. Use those options. Now, earlier I said there were no classes, and I explained what I meant. We're in a special room, so therefore when we leave, we get special treatment. It didn't happen. But what did happen, and I already mentioned this before, the difference between Explora I and Explora II, 1 year apart, was I really enjoyed this time the personalized service even better than the first time. They kind of found their sea legs. I already explained this to you once, but I want to give you some feedback on this. It seemed that, especially when I was really nice to a server, because I'm always nice to people because I want them to be nice to me. I don't ever expect them to be my servant. I just expect for them to provide me with the service that comes on what their job description is when I'm on board. And I would always be complimentary because they were nice to me, and I'd always be nice. And when I was, they'd say, "What's your name?" And I'd say, "My name is Gary, and this is my son Alex." So after I did that once or twice over the first 2 days, anywhere I went, it was, "Hi Gary, hi Alex." They knew us. The bartenders knew the drink that I liked. So if you just think about this, if you're nice to them, they'll be extraordinarily nice to you, and they'll remember your names. And so many people online said the reason why they didn't think Explora Journeys was ultra luxury was because there wasn't that personalized connection. Well, they kind of fixed that. Now, here's a caveat on this. I met lots of people that knew my writing on Cruise Critic on this cruise. Lots of them. I had very interesting conversations. And afterwards, a couple of them said that their experience where people remember their name was different than mine. I can't tell you why that's the case. I will tell you that I'm very engaging, I'm very positive, I always smile, and I always compliment, especially when a compliment is due. And people just remembered us, and it felt good. There's nothing like going over, getting your lounge chair, and having the server come over and say, "Do you want another Diet Coke today, Mr. Tilkin?" What more can you ask? Because that's treatment that I did not necessarily get on previous cruises. So there's my improvement. It improved from the first Explora Journey cruise to the second. But the bottom line is, there was personalized service that was noticeable. Now I'm going to leave this main section with this final thought, and it's about food. And you can tell I'm a bit of a foodie. I didn't like in the past, and I really didn't like aspects in the past of a main dining room. I understood why people liked it. They can go anytime they want. They can pretty much dress the way they want. They had a menu that, I don't know, sometimes changed, sometimes had specials. But I found them to be service average at best, food average at best, and a lot of misses. So having a better experience for the quote-unquote main dining room was something that I was looking forward to happening on some cruise line. Well, Explora Journey eliminated the main dining room, and instead they have two other restaurants. Now remember, you have two specialty restaurants that pre-cruise, you can, when it's available, when the window's open, you can get one each reservation. And for those reservations, my advice to you, my recommendation to you is get them early in the week. Because once you sit down, for example, at Marble and Company, you can get on your phone and you can make your second reservation for later on that week. The same thing with Cigar. Once you sit down, you can make your second reservation for later on that week. Just go to your phone, works perfectly. It's nice to do. They won't give you a second reservation if you haven't done your first reservation first, but those are for the two specialty restaurants. This subject is the main dining room. The other two restaurants, which is Yacht Club and Rouge, by the way, our favorite was Rouge. Surprising, not the two specialty restaurants, Rouge. I had it for breakfast every day except one, and the meals were chef's kiss, great. Matter of fact, I had dinner with the captain. He has one time during the week, usually in the middle, where he has dinner with some folks. And there were 10 people at the table. I had dinner with him, and it was at Rouge. It was outstanding. Now back to my point. No main dining room. So my advice to you is, and you don't have to do this, is when you get to the port and you sit down, take out your phone, because the Wi-Fi is going to work now on the ship, and make your reservations for Rouge and for Yacht Club. Now, do you have to? No. But believe me when I tell you, if you don't, there is a high likelihood that you will go to dinner at 6:30 or 7 and you'll have to wait. And then you'll be upset, because if it was a main dining room, you wouldn't have to do that. That's not the way this cruise line works. First, the restaurants are much better than main dining rooms. And second, if you want to have the day and time for these two restaurants, Rouge and Yacht Club, you have to book them when you get on board. Now, if your phone won't work, it's okay. Go to deck 5, and right in front of the coffee cafe will be people sitting down there to help you. They even helped me, because I booked so late in the game, move my specialty restaurants up front so that I can get additional ones afterwards. They were fabulous. But don't be upset. Work within the system. Now, if you must have a main dining room, if that's critically important, and this is not the cruise line for you, if you want to have great food across the board, you've chosen the right brand. So, no main dining room, but great restaurants. You just have to have a strategy. And there you have it. It's time for the final word. And to make it even more interesting, a little wardrobe change. It was about time, don't you think? What I really want to know is, not my final word. I think you got enough of that. I want to know what you think. I'd love to get your questions, and I promise I personally will respond to you. So simply leave a comment down below and leave me a like if you don't mind. I'll get back with you very quickly. I'd love to know what you liked, what you didn't like, what you thought I could improve on my presentation, or what you liked about my presentation, or in general, any question that you have about Explora Journey or any other subjects that I've ever put on any kind of a YouTube video. I want you to understand something. I do these kinds of videos not to get paid, because I don't get paid. The cruise companies don't give me any money, and YouTube doesn't give me any money. I do it because I wished that somebody would have done it for me before I went on the first time on any brand, including Explora Journeys. If I knew some of the things I know now, I would have had even a better time on Explora I and Explora II. So I want to do it for you so that you can have the best possible time that you can have. That is my only motivation. So whatever feedback that you give me, you can assured it will be on my next video. So help me get better and I'll help you get better information. Now let me tell you a little bit about my future. I've got several cruises ahead of me. And on each one of the cruises, I will do exactly what I did on this cruise. I'll do a live, real-time review on the ship. I'll also do a series of 2 or 3 videos on YouTube. I'll answer all the questions that people have. I'll ask for questions before I go on the cruise lines. I just want to be helpful. Again, my only focus, my only goal is to improve my experience and improve yours as well. So in the future, in June 2026, I'll be on Region 7 Seas on the Explorer going to Alaska with my wife. Next year, 2027, I'll be going up the coast of Los Angeles all the way up to Vancouver on Explora III. And in 2028, my friends and my wife will be going on a Mediterranean cruise on Explora V, where it starts in Barcelona and goes up through Lisbon. We're looking forward to all those things. And remember, on every single cruise I go on, I'll approach it exactly the same way as I've done this. And the more times I go on a brand, the better I can be at telling you how to have the best time possible. Remember, if the more you know and the better strategy you have before you go on a brand, the better time you'll have. Nothing's ever perfect. You're in a 5-star hotel in the middle of the ocean. Stuff happens. But if you keep a positive attitude, if you really focus on what you want out of that cruise, you'll select the right brand, you'll select the right accommodations, you'll select the right restaurants and windows for opportunities for reservations. You'll do things better, which will improve your experience. So this is Gary Tilkin saying to you, thank you so much. I appreciate that you watched this entire video, and I hope I gave you something that will help your next cruise be even better than before. Remember, cruise well and enjoy every moment. Have a great day.